Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 82 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Today, I'd like to do a couple things. First off, I'd like to upgrade my Void Ore Miner to tier 4. I want to eventually get this guy to tier 6 so that we can get like the best of the coolest of the things, right? But for now, we'll work on 4 because obviously a Void Ore Miner tier 4 from Environmental Tech is going to need basically a bunch of palladium, which we should have no problemo there. And we're also going to, according to this guy, need 4 more null modifiers or any type of modifier, the same number of structure frames, we have to upgrade all 56 of these to tier 4, 4 more structure panels, and 1 more laser core. So I've gotten a structure panel, 4 more of those, 4 more modifiers. I'm going accuracy modifier, and laser core. So then I just have to upgrade all these bad boys to tier whatever, right? So I'm going to just shut everything down here and get these guys upgraded. So first things first, let's maybe do, because this is a pretty big structure here, right? Let's at least do this in a 3x3 pattern. Will this work? Aw, fail, it doesn't work. I was hoping it would. Nope, it doesn't. And having that in there just slows things down, so that's a bummer. So I guess we have to break everything, right? There's no like fun automated way of like clicking something in a particular way and having it break. Like I can't just like shift click with you, can I? Oh, I can, okay. I'll take that. That's at least better than breaking with the pick. And then I can just release shift to let the magnet pick up all the goodies. And then there's no accidentally breaking of things, right? That works. We might have had something fall into the void. Yeah, we did. Cool. Alright, so there you have it. We should have cleared out, and we should now have 56 structure panels and 56, I should have 56. I have 56 structure frame tier 3s. Cool. So let's go up here and figure out how to upgrade you to tier 4, right? So tier 4 just requires the palladium and nether quartz and emeralds. That's not so bad. So we're going to want 56 of those, which should be pretty much instant. So for structure, we've got 56 3s. We need 56 structure. So we already have available the 56 tier 3s. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't recrafting those. Sweet. And then to upgrade you, we're going to need... I'm assuming that we have like a stupid amount of palladium. Yeah, we've got 3.6k. We have more than we will hopefully ever need. And then we need a diamond block. And that should be all she wrote. And I'll take this, not my crystal lens, because remember that's the thing I want. You can have a clear lens. Cool. Void Ore Miner tier 4. Now, is that the same shape and size? That's a question to which I do not have the answer. But we'll find out in like a second. Because it is a similar number of blocks. So ultimately, we'll see if it's the same shape and size. So are you still placing things, or... By having all the blocks on my hotbar here, it'll tell me if it's still placing stuff. I don't know how much more space you need. Looks like you go down a little bit more. It definitely has a few more blocks, but not a lot more. So I'll just clear out some extra space down here and see if I can't figure it out. I'm assuming that those 4 blocks might go under there. So that might... There we go. Nice. Sweet. 8 and 4. So we have a few more blocks that are trying to get placed somewhere. Oh yeah, look at you. Okay, so you actually do go out quite a bit more. It's funny because like it seems like there's not that many more blocks, but then it seems like there are that many more blocks. Now we're talking. Sweet. Are you done then? You're supposed to put 4 more structure panels down. Wherefore art thou structure panels going? Oh, probably the torches. They are probably in my way. I feel like you didn't actually remove the torches, even though it looks like you did. I knew it was a lie. Hooray! Structure complete? I suspect. There's only one way to find out. You bind to this guy, and we'll see if we start getting stuff. Hey, yeah, look, we're getting palladium and erodium. Sweet. All right, cool. So our accuracy modifier seems to be doing its job. And now we should be getting Ionite. Nice. Okay, cool. Ionite only comes from Void Miner 4 and higher. And obviously, you can assume that based on the way this mod has worked thus far, Ionite, which apparently is witherproof and only players can break, that's cool, is required for the tier 5 Void Ore Miner. So, also, how much power is that draining? I would love to know. I'm trying to right now consider how I might. So we definitely have more power going into the orb still. At the end of the day, that's probably all we care about, is how much power is going into the orb. I would still like to know how much power this is using. Is there some kind of power detector thing? RF reader? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. Long story short, we are producing more power than we're using, and that's really all that matters, ultimately. So let's floor it up. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Nice. So that's our tier 4 Void Ore Miner. We'll let that run, get Ionite, and do things in future stuffs. Cool. So you can go away. I'm pretty much done with you guys. Let's organize our inventory for a sec. Putting away things we don't need, like the assembler. We can put this guy back, and you here. I'll keep my crystal binder, because we are going to be using him soon. I'm going to put my linking tool away. I don't need this phantom face. I don't need my exchanger on me right now. I don't need my Draconic tablet on me right now. Well, I probably don't. I can probably just explain what we're going to be doing today, which is infusion crafting time. Yeah, definitely time to look at making infusion crafters. Cool. So infusion crafting is a good time. It's from Draconic. So we'll go ahead and do it this way. So there's two sets of things we're going to need for fusion crafting. Fusion crafting is a way of crafting items using huge amounts of power and items. So Fusion Crafting Core is the center structure for what we're going to need to make. And there's 4 tiers of it, and each tier unlocks newer and better recipes from Draconic Evolution. So your basic Fusion Crafting Injector, this guy, is going to wind up being the simplest version of it. So there's lots and lots, there's 71 recipes for fusion crafting, right? And you'll see that like some tiers require basic, and that means that you need basic fusion craftings for these. So this recipe, for example, needs 8 items to do the thing that it's making, and 256,000 RF. There's a similar recipe that's like a better version of it. That's Wyvern tier, which is the second tier, that's 4 million RF. And then there's the third tier, which is Draconic, 256 million RF for this craft. And then finally, the Chaotic tier. This requires 2 billion RF to craft the thing that we're seeing here. So shenanigans, for sure. Some things need a lot of power, some things need not as much power, right? So lots and lots of things that we can see here. Most recipes require about 8 items. However, some recipes require a little bit more than 8 items, which we will probably be getting to sooner here. So this guy needs... I thought we just saw one. That one needs 7. That, by the way, I think was our Awakened Draconium. So that's 350 million RF per craft for 4 Awakened Draconium blocks. Also needs a Dragon Heart, which remember we've been getting some of those from killing the dragon. 5 and 4, so that's 9 right there. This one's 7, 8. This is 10. So when we get to the point where we're doing... some crazy things. This is also 10. I do want to check out the Draconium chest. I've literally never played with that before. This looks like it needs about 10. This needs about not as many. So 10 seems to be the magic number here that we're going to want to hook into. So let's get let's lay out what it's going to look like, and then we'll go from there. Does that sound cool? So this is going to be our fusion crafter. In fact, I can put it right there to begin with because we're pretty much ready. I don't think this guy itself needs power, but then we're going to want 1, 2, 3. So that's 2 blocks away. I don't like that I'm covering up the light there a little bit. Bums me out. I don't like that that's happening. It just so happens that that's like a good layout for this area. What I could do is push that back one more. So this is pretty much where you want to put your fusion crafters in a pattern like that. And then I could put fusion crafters basically there, and that would look cool, right? And that would be 9, right? 3, 3, and 3. Now, if you wanted to, you could have all 9 like right here. But I kind of like the way it looks from an aesthetic point of view when you have stuff like that. So we could have another one here, here, and here. That would be 12, but that feels kind of like a waste. When technically all you really need, I think at most, is 10. So what I'll probably wind up doing is not having that here. So we'll do 3, 3, and 4, which will be 10. And that sounds cool, right? So to get the basic fusion injectors, we need draconic cores and we need blocks of iron, right? So we're going to want 10 of you and 10 of you, and that should be good. Boom. To get 10 of these dudes. And basically, you want them to be sort of facing the fusion crafting core. And again, this is the crafting mechanic of Draconic Evolution. Now, they all need power. And my recommendation to you will be to go ahead and use a wireless doohickey for this. That will definitely be smart. So I usually like to stick the wireless guy maybe right above this thing. And then we can crystal binder you. What's the nearest one here? That look cool. And then you can send power into each of these guys on the top. And remember I said we're going to have 10 here, right? So you're also going to get topped there. And that looks pretty good, right? So that'll be our power distribution network for our fusion crafting processes. Sweet! Step 1 complete. We've got cool things happening. Step 2 would be, maybe do we want to automate this? And the answer would be probably yes. And I've never automated it before with things and stuff. So let's consider filters. Let's get about 10 of these resonant filters and item ducts. Signal and plate. Impulse item ducts, half a stack should be good, but let's get another half a stack just to be fancy about it. And then we're going to want probably a crafter and probably a chest. And that should be cool. And then a servo, we'll probably want a resonant version of that. So we'll have the 10 resonant filters and 1 resonant servo. And that should be a good approach to automating the crafting here. And we'll see how well this works out. Now here's the trick, unless things changed in 1.12, which I don't think they have. The trick with this crafting mechanic is that the blocks accept more than 1 item at a time. So it's not like the actually additions one. And I'll show you this once this is done crafting, right? So let's go resonant filter. You shouldn't need that much more work. Come on now. You're getting there. 10 and 1. Nice. So, unlike these guys, which only accept 1 item at a time, these do not. They accept as many items as you feed into them. 1 type of item at a time. So like diamonds, for example, right? They will accept 4 diamonds, or 10 diamonds, or 64 diamonds, or 1 diamond. And what you really want to do is say 1 at a time. So there's probably going to be some auto crafting involved here, but also some not so much auto crafting involved here. So I haven't... How do I want to run this? Let's get covers as well, because I want to see what it'll look like. Facades, actually. So, structure ducts and you. What if I combined you? Isn't this something? Yeah, this is something, right? Let's just get some sandstone covers and see what this looks like. So if I wanted to, for example, somewhat automate this room, right? a nice place to put the chest might be here. Okay. And let's try this out. So I'm going to put you here with the servo, right? And then there's an impulse item duct, and I want you to basically run to these guys. But I want this to look cool, right? So we want this to look good from the top. So can I put this here to make this look good? That looks pretty spiffy, actually. I like the way that looks. That looks actually quite good. Right? That looks cool. I like it. I actually do like that a lot. So that's how we're going to do it. I think that looks good. And then we're going to want filters on you guys, right? The other option that we could have is to run it behind, but then you wind up with wiring back here instead of wiring under there. See, I think that looks pretty spiffy. The only problem is going to be you. You're going to be my odd man out. So maybe these guys get it behind, right? These four. Oh, right. Hold on. It went into the thing. Right? So you could be like this, and you guys all get filters. Right? We should make sure that they're all whitelisting. And the reason I'm using resonant is I also want it to only have one item at a time. Right? Now, you could do that with another tier or two, but resonant was just what I had on hand, and honestly, we have the resources, so I'm not worried. Cool. So you're all set to whitelist and only keep one item at a time, right? Whitelist one at a time, whitelist one at a time, one at a time, whitelist. Sweet. All right. So sometimes there's overlap of recipes, but we're going to see if between refined storage and thermal expansion and dynamics and whatnot, that this works out pretty well, and I think it shall. Cool. So now let's get what I'm going to want is that thing over there in a sec, but let's get you guys run, and we'll get our servos on there, or our filters that are set for whitelist 1, whitelist 1, whitelist 1. Cool. And we might as well just run this straight across to there. Now, I might want to centralize my chest a little bit more than I have. I might even want the chest to be underneath this whole thing so that it's not visible. So I'll probably... Let's do that now. This was meant to be kind of temporary anyway. So having a centralized chest will just speed up the crafting because it's less travel time for the items, right? So if we centralized the chest, let's actually make this a crate instead of a chest so that I can place it on the ceiling. So you go away, small storage crate can come out, and then you'll go right in the center of this. Is that centered? That looks centered. And you can go there, ignored. So you're going to extract everything out of that chest, right? We'll stick the crafter on you. Bing. And then we'll just have to find ourselves... that's not the most ideal solution. How am I going to get you properly behaving? I mean, I could put you inside the wall here. This just needs to be covered with sand. That's not that big a deal. And I mean, that wouldn't be terrible. It wouldn't be ideal, but it wouldn't be terrible. But I want that crafter inside the wall. I'm going to say yes. And that should look better, right? So follow along with me here. We'll take you. We'll take you. I'm going to put the... Let's put the crafter right in the wall. And that there, right? So I should still be able to access the crafter here, or no? Nah, not easily. I want easy access to the crafter. So what I'm going to do is get some cables. Do I not? You know what I was doing was I was doing that. All right, let's mirror that build. I could always just do this if I need to access the crafter. Deal. That works. And then we can do our impulse item ducts. which should then distribute to the appropriate locations. Speaking of the appropriate locations, hold on. Before I actually decide that, we actually want... All right, I do need this to be back 1. Because what I'm going to need... The crate has to be here. Because I need to be able to do this. Right? Which I guess means maybe I'll put the crafter here. And then we can access it easily still. Right? Like we'll do that. And then we can run cabling like so. Technically, you're not even needed anymore. I just never got around to cleaning this whole mess up. None of this is needed anymore, really. Because we're not using crystal power anymore. I probably shouldn't have done that, but oh well. We're not using it anymore, so I'm going to eventually clean it up anyway. There you go. All right, so that looks cool, right? So let's get out of this little maze that I found myself in. And let's see what this looks like from over here. Perfect. I like it. And I could probably throw a cover on you. Right? And then we could get you guys covered back up. And I'm going to need another set of structure duct covers. Just mostly to have, but also for these guys. Right? So here, here, and here. How's this look from above? Fancy? I like it. All right. Cool. I wouldn't have totally minded if we had... man, that looks cool. I love thermal dynamics expansion. There's always just like such awesomeness in that mod sometimes. Cool. I wouldn't have minded a manual feed for certain things, because there's going to be some things that we're only going to craft once. So let me show you an example of that, right? Draconic Wyvern fusion crafting injectors, for example. I want to do this right now, because frankly, there's not a lot at the basic tier that I want, and we have the resources to get to the Wyvern tier. So what I'll do is just, I don't need it to be up top. If I'm ever going to craft manually, I'll do it, you know, I'll just right there and get into it, right? So let's test this out, right? So if I want to upgrade these guys, we're going to need a Wyvern, 2 Draconics, Draconium, right? So let's do this. A Wyvern, so I need 10 of those. We're going to need 20 of you. We're going to need 10 of these. And then we need 40 diamonds, right? Cool. So the question then becomes, I'm gonna whitelist this stuff like so. This is more so testing, like proof of concept testing that this works. So that'll be those guys. And then we want diamonds. Can I access this here? Oh, that's beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I put these in here, what we should see happen, right, is you should extract exactly the right amount of items and no more. Cool? 36, 9, 9, 18. Perfect. And we've got our 4 diamonds and 1 each of those. Beautiful. And I'm going to remove this for the time being, because this is the one I'm going to upgrade. And we're going to put it in here and hit start. And we should see our fusion crafting process begin. Nice. Cool. So you can see it's getting the power that it needs. It's distributing power to all those things. Let's also be ready for a few things here. So you're still the focus of that. Nice. All right. So this is the fusion crafting process, right? We infuse a bunch of energy into the items on the outside areas. Once enough energy has been built into those items, it fuses it with the item in the center, and we get something fancy out of it. Sweet. I like it. And poof. Nice. Okay. And then it's going to add another set of items here. Beautiful. Now, should we set up for automation, or should we set up for something different? Probably something different. So what I'm going to do, actually, if I break you, Am I going to lose this diamond? Does that still happen? Contents saved. Of course they are. But I think what'll happen is I can do this. Right. And then do this. So let me upgrade all of these, and then we will come back in a minute and do something cool with it. And it looks like we're wrapping up here. Nice. So this will be the last of the wyvern tiers. Basically, every time you upgrade these, unless you have like a good reason not to, upgrade them all together. You know, good reasons not to, obviously, being like resources. Whoosh. Nice. Okay, cool. So then you should be good there. Let's rebind the power. So all of them are now wyvern tiered upgrades, which are perfect and what I'd like to see. All right, next step here. Let's automate a bit of stuff. Let's do... Could I put an interface here? Interface. This could be the acceptor for things, and then we want to have another filter, and probably another servo, and that should be good. So the interface, which should be done crafting nowish. Psst, nowish. Talking to you, interface. Let's go. Thank you. The servo, check. The filter, check. And we have some pulse item ducts, and we have some cables. So that should be cool. This guy would be a nice place to be. Real quick, I'm going to go into here. And we will do 2 cables here. Technically, I could put the interface right next to the crafter, but you'll see in a second why I didn't. I think it looks a little better this way. So what if we put this guy here with a filtered whitelist? Cool. You're good. So you're going to filter specific items, and you're going to extract out of here. So we will have this guy with a servo set to always extract that. So you're going to extract items there, and we might as well put our cover on this bad boy to make them look cool. And then the other thing I want to have is redstone. So you can trigger the crafting with a redstone signal. I'm wondering, can I just place, like, without an input on here? Not that. Not that, not that, not that. Can you just, like, emit a pulse? Oh, you can't have both a servo and a redstone doohickey. You stink. I have a solution. But first I have to test if this works. So you output threshold scaled. Wasn't there like a pulse mode or something? Like some kind of a pulse that worked? I thought there was. So let's try a few things that we're going to do here. So you're going to be a timer. That's on a delay of 20 ticks, so pretty much every second. Technically, this could be a structure duct here with this guy with redstone input. So you're getting the pulse, which is cool, which means you're pulsing, right? Yeah, nice. We can see it right there. That's perfect, right? I would say that's pretty good. Now, in terms of getting items out of here, let's make something we haven't yet played with too much. Something really cool. Retrieval nodes. These guys can pull items across a distance. So instead of servos pushing items out, going into a destination, retrievers will pull items out of any destination along the line and try to fill their inventory, right? So if we made a retriever here, which should be cool, this should work out then. So instead of having a filter here, we'll put the retriever, which we should be crafting the components for, and they should be ready any second. Any second now. Any second now. pulls distant items and fluids to itself. So I'm going to whitelist you and specify what you're allowed to pull. So let's teach this thing how to make Awakened Draconium, right? To make Awakened Draconium, which is a totally useful block that we're going to need to have, we need the following things, right? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Draconic cores and a heart and 4 Draconium blocks, right? So maybe I should teach you how to make Draconium blocks, but in a sec, I want to have one on me. Oh, I should put this in processing mode. Yeah, that's right. You should be in processing mode anyway, so that you can do that. There we go. Right, 4 Draconium blocks, the Draconic cores, the heart, and the Awakened Draconium. Cool. So that's that. And then in not processing mode, I want you to know how to make one of these. So we can make our Draconium blocks, and then you, sir, would go in here, and then we can, so like, oh, okay, cool, you're pulsing. So I want you to just be on ignored mode for now. Actually, I want you to be, for now I'm going to whitelist. The only thing you can do is that, just to make sure, but you can be on ignored mode, so you're always trying to pull sandstone, right? So we're going to need some of you and one of you, right? So you, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So that's cool. How can I get a filter and a redstone pulse on you? That's going to be the tricky part, because I want to have a filter on this thing for input as well. That's going to be the tricky part. What I could do, well, because you're whitelisting, it should default. So this might actually work without any configurations. But let's see if I'm right about this, right? So we needed, how many of these? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Draconic cores, right? So we need, let's just do the sides. Will be the Draconic cores. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm probably gonna, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove these diamonds, because we probably don't need them for now. I want to have this only set up for the Awakened Draconium thing. And I know we're probably getting close to wrapping up point here, but I want to really get this working before we wrap up. So that's cool. And then one of you is going to need to be a heart. So I'm going to remove you and put the heart in. And I'm going to remove you for sure, because we don't want Draconium blocks going into these things and these guys, right? So what should happen now is this thing will extract everything. Draconium blocks aren't allowed anywhere, right? In theory. So because these are all whitelisting what they're allowed to get. So the only place in this entire line where it can go is to the center block, right? You're going to try and retrieve what I'm going to tell you in a moment, which is going to be Awakened Draconium. You're going to pulse. So that should be cool. So what if we put all this back and we said we wanted Awakened Draconium? Start. So what we should see happening is the items going to their appropriate locations, right? Hey, it's running. Beautiful. So the Draconium blocks did make it to the center because it was the only destination it could go to. Everything else had a whitelist on it. This is the only thing that didn't have a whitelist, right? So you need lots of power. So the charging actually takes a while because as powerful and as much power as this transfers, remember, Awakened Draconium needs 350 million RF per craft. So we have to charge this thing up with 350 million RF, which is a lot of RF. Like, we just dumped 100 million RF. Keep in mind, like, 350 million RF is 7 times more RF than the total amount of power that we had available to us in our energy cell just a few episodes back. So that's a lot of RF. But this thing will fill. And then all I have to do is whitelist Awakened Draconium. I don't suppose I can do this thing. Sometime. Yeah, no, I didn't think so. NEI had that. JEI, I don't think has that feature. So you're at 80% charge, right? 90% charged. And once you get beyond the power charging part, the part where it actually does the fusion craft is a static amount of time, regardless how much power there is. So there you go. You can see that crafting is occurring. And then what I'm going to do is add the awakened blocks, which will be available in here to be extracted, to the retriever, and then the retriever is going to whitelist to be able to pull awakened blocks out. Hopefully I can grab half of these, and then we'll demonstrate seeing that work. Good, I can. Cool. So there's 2 in the system still, right? I'm going to add you to the whitelist, and what should happen is the awakened blocks get pulled into there. Sweet. And then you interface import your way in, and that completes the craft. Beautiful. That is cool. I've never made an automation system for this mod before for awakened stuff that used thermal expansion, and I'm glad that I did because it actually works really well. That's a rendering bug that it was showing that in there. That's no big deal. For now, Daryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time. Now we've got fusion crafting up and running, which is cool. All right, guys. You know what to do. Take it easy.